Well, hi everybody. This is Angelo Quinones saying you reach IM Ministries. IM Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. And before we pray, I have to raise up the tone of my voice. So that's, I guess that's, comes along with the acute marker in Greek. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Because it's raining, and that sound you can hear it in the background. And also you got karaoke singing here in the Philippines. Okay, so I mean, I'm not a Filipino like I say all the time. I'm an American citizen who happens to be Spanish and a little bit of Italian mixed in it, and I came from the United States 5 years ago. So I mean, well, let's pray because this text is very important to understand, especially for Jehovah's Witnesses. You understand what I mean? So we're gonna do battle with the witnesses. Hopefully, we can reach them or defeat them. And I mean, we love Jehovah's Witnesses. Because they're God's creation, and they have been deceived. Okay, so we have to be patient and loving and kind to the JWs. Okay, holy and merciful God, we come to you, the awesome God, the living God of Yisrael, and the living God of the Church of the Kirk. So we come to you for great things, but we come for the forgiveness of our sins before this Bible study. We just pray that you may wash these sins away by the blood of Jesus. Wash our mouths, our hearts, our minds, our bodies, everything about us, every single facet of our being. Please cleanse by Jesus' death and resurrection. So we thank you for that forgiveness. We thank you for that cleansing. And we pray that we have short accounts with you. And we just come for you for help, to be bold, to be direct and clear and plain and accurate, according to this text of verse 15 of Colossians, Lord. So we come to you as your children, and you are our Father, you are our God through faith in Christ Jesus. And so we thank you for all things spiritual and physical, and please protect the church and make peace for Israel, and also protect our families. Open our minds, open our hearts, Lord, especially the people who don't believe these things as we believe them, as we born again Trinitarians believe them. We once walked in darkness also, so let us have compassion for the witnesses and everybody who goes up against you. Oh Lord, glorify yourself in the study. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, guys, this is the coup de grace. This is the key. Now, let's read it from the NASB. Okay? Now, the NASB is not the greatest version of the Bible, but I use it a lot because the app is very easy to use. Okay, so I can easily use this app or the NIV. The NET, I'm going to see if I could download another one, because the NET is so hard to open up. It just doesn't open up well. And that happens to be one of the greatest Bibles, if not better, scholarly speaking, than the NASB. According to Dan Wallace, is one of his favorite translations from the Bible. Now, this is a full Greek construction of Colossians chapter 1, verse 15. And we're not going to only study that, but we're going to study after this, God willing, we shall do this and that. Verses 16 and 17, because they add the word other there. Okay? And so we're going to check that out as well. And we're going to look at verse 18, because that's going to answer everything. Okay? You understand? All right. Let's check it out. He, meaning Christ, is the image. Okay, is the image of the invisible God. Okay, the firstborn of all creation. Okay, so we have here, he is the image, that's number one, number two, okay, of the invisible God, and he is the firstborn. So he is the image of the invisible God and the firstborn. That has to do with nature and the nature of his resurrection. Let's just listen, let us understand that Jesus is not a creature. No. Okay, there's a verse here in this text that explains firstborn. Now, Walter Martin actually had an explanation for this, his explanation that I used to use for a long time. But I think the one that that I came up with, a couple of months ago, is even better than Walter Martin's, though, because it's in the text. Okay. Now, Walter Martin said this, that firstborn means that he has the preemptive rights of sonship. Okay. And he tied it up with, I believe, verse 41, verses, I think, 51 and 52, or 50 and 51. Let's check it out right now. Because he tied it up in this way, but I think I came up with one a little bit better than that, because it comes from the actual text of Colossians chapter 1. He says, before we get to Genesis, he says that, and I repeat this, that has to do with the preempted rights of sonship. I agree with that, and I agreed with that for a long time. That's kind of like the main vein answer, but that's not the main answer, though. That's not that. There's one even greater than that. Okay, Mazone. Okay, there's one even. Let me not get into John chapter 14, verse 28. The comparative degree, but there's a better answer for the witnesses, because it's in the scriptures here. Okay, no, but let's do Walter Martin some justice. Okay, and I agree with it in a sense that it's not wrong. I just don't think that's primarily what it's talking about. Primarily, it might be a secondary, thing. Okay, hidden under the accents of the Greek or the English. Okay, but and by the way, wasn't that a disgrace? I saw it for the first time, and that happened 4 years ago. The Pope, of all people, okay, kissing the feet of a Sudan leader, of Muslims, trying to create peace, and he should know better that Jesus didn't come to create peace upon the world, but a sword. He didn't bring peace, but a sword, a spiritual one, a division. You understand what I'm saying? No Christian should kiss the feet of anyone, even fellow Christian people. Less, Muslim people who are the sons of Israel, for God's sakes. Okay? That was a total disgrace, talking about under the accidents, You know what I mean? I say that tongue-in-cheek, under the appearance, you know what I'm saying? But isn't that a total disgusting disgrace? And I hope that a lot of Catholics left Catholicism and came to something better through evangelicalism. Okay? Through evangelicalism. I hope they just left cold turkey and left that pseudo cult. You understand what I'm saying? But that's a discussion for another time. I mean, Pope Francis kissing the feet in 2019 of Muslim leaders? You got to be joking, though. But let's get into this. We're getting into something else. Let's get into this, okay? Let me not get started in that. Colossians chapter 1, verse 15 says something again. Says this again, I should say, rather. He, meaning Christ, he is the image. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. Now, let's take this apart. This comes in two parts. Let's parse this a little bit. Not the Greek yet. Not yet. We're going to get into that. You understand what I'm saying? We'll tackle it together. I haven't looked at it to study beforehand, so I'm going to look at it for the first time like you. Not for the first time in my life, but I'm just saying, just for this particular sit down study, I haven't looked at it. So it's basic Greek here. I mean, you probably have the Greek word ratos for invisible, of course, theos for God, image is icon, is, if it's there, estin, he, maybe has. I mean, that's just normal stuff here. Firstborn, prototokan, I mean, of all creation, probably pas is there in creation, I mean, okay? So, I mean, we're probably going to be looking at some of those words and more. So, it says over here that he is the image. It's not that he is a copy of God's image. It says that he is the image. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? He is the image of the invisible God. He is the image of the invisible God, and that has to do with essence. That has to do with substance. You understand what I'm saying? It's not sort of a character thing, okay? All right. I think that, I mean, listen, verse 3 of chapter 1 of Hebrews kills two birds with one stone, showcasing the character of God, but also the substance or the essence of God, the nature of God. Okay, that's what Jesus came to do. Jesus came to do like around 7 things to showcase his natures and his character. Alongside with that, he came to showcase the nature in the singular and the character of the Father, and also to provide redemption and like that. You understand what I'm saying? And be resurrected from the dead. So I mean, he did like 7 things. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? All right. So it says that he is the image. It's not as the Greek word eston is probably there. Okay. He is the image of the invisible God. All right. So he's not a copy. Hupadegma is the word for copy. It is used 6 times according to Mouse's complete expository dictionary of Old and New Testament words. You understand? 6 times. Hupadegma. Hupadegma. Hupadegma is the word for copy. Okay? Copy. Strictly copy. You understand what I'm saying? It's found 6 times. It's found, okay, all right, I believe 3 times in Hebrews, chapter 4, chapter 8, chapter 9, and 1 time in James, chapter 5, 1 time in 2 Peter, chapter 2, and 1 time in John's Gospel, chapter 13, when Jesus was washing the disciples' feet. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? And he gave a pattern or an example, and that's hupadegma, of what they should do. And what we should do, ultimately, also. Theologically speaking, you understand what I'm saying? Let's take out the highlight here. But let me go to what Walter Martin said about firstborn, because we're going to look at the Greek of icon and image, and we're going to use Revelation chapter 6, verse 16 to sort of speak about that further. But let's go to the Old Testament. All right, praise God. He gets the glory, not me. Let's go to the Old Testament, and let's go to the book of Genesis, the book of beginnings. Genesis in Greek, okay, Bereshit in Hebrew, Bereshit. And let's go to, almost to the end of the book, chapter 41, okay, or Walter Martin, I'm not criticizing Walter Martin. I think it's a good answer, but it's not complete. Let's just put it like that, okay? We need to be more complete than that. All right. So we went to Genesis chapter 41, verse 51. It says over here, Joseph, named the firstborn, a prototokan in the Greek Septuagint, Manasseh. For he said, quote, God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's household. Okay, understand? I chuckle because isn't that the truth? I wish to God that would be like that, all the time. Verse 52. He named the second Ephraim, for he said, God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. By the way, the word made in the Bible doesn't mean created all the time. Okay? You being a man, make yourself to be God. Well, Jesus didn't create himself to be God. He was proclaiming that he was God. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? And that's around verse, give or take, verse 27 of chapter 10, something like that. So, and the Greek word poieo is there. You understand what I'm saying? You understand? So this idea that you can use, the witnesses, Acts chapter 2, verse 36, he has made him both Lord and Christ. Well, first of all, it's very easy to answer that. First of all, he made him Christ through baptism, okay, you understand? And it says that, I believe, in chapter 10 of the Acts, the apostles. You understand what I mean? Okay? And he proclaimed them to be Lord through his messengers. Okay? That's what the day of Pentecost did that. You know, so it doesn't mean create, and even the New World Translation doesn't say, okay, all right, created there. So made, I mean, he's not. He listen. Joseph already was created. God is making him two things here. Made him two things here. Recorded in verse 51 and verse 52. Okay, so this idea that poieo or just the word made means to create all the time is just foolish, and it comes from the witnesses. You understand what I'm saying? Let me increase the tone of my voice, okay, because it's raining a lot. Okay, so he named the second Ephraim, having, okay, that's a participle, okay, having named the firstborn Manasseh. Now, remember that Manasseh is the firstborn, but in the eyes of God, Walter Martin said correctly so. And let's go to another passage of scripture. Jeremiah chapter 31. Now, there's a better answer than this. Okay, I'm going to get into that. There's a better answer than this. It's more accurate, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not condemning it, but I'm saying there's a better answer to the firstborn attack that the witnesses use, you know, from Colossians chapter 1, verse 15. Now, let's look at verse 9, I believe, of chapter 31 of Jeremiah. It's something like this. Now let me see. With weeping, I hope I got this right. Let me see. Walk. Now I believe. Let me see. Path in which they. Let me see. Okay. Good. Thank God. So over here in verse 9 of chapter 31 of Jeremiah. With weeping, they will come. And by supplication, I will lead them. I will make them, okay, walk by streams of waters on a straight path in which they will not stumble. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Is that clear? Not Manasseh. Manasseh was the firstborn. He was named. Listen, he was named. Listen, he named his firstborn Manasseh, Joseph, in the land of Egypt. But Jehovah said, just hold on here. That's not my firstborn. My firstborn is Ephraim. He is going to have the preemptive rights of sonship. He is going to be the greater of the two. You understand what I'm saying? Even though, you know, the preemptive rights really belong to the firstborn. And the same thing going on with Jacob I have loved, and Esau I have hated. Now, Esau was the firstborn, and he had the preemptive rights according to, you know, the land, the customs of the people. Now, but he was the firstborn, so he had the rights. But, you know, so Jacob came along and grabbed his heel, said, just a cotton point, just wait, just a cotton pick second. Birthright's going to be mine. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? And he stole it, but it was his anyway. Because there was evidence that it was going to be Jacob's and not Esau's. You know what I mean? And so that's just the same thing going on, that the second-born had the preemptive rights according to God, not to man. But, let me take this out, okay? But I think there's a better answer to that. I mean, that's a very that's an attractive answer. And I used to use it all the time. And I can still use it in conjunction with what I'm going to give you guys, okay? You understand what I'm saying? Before we get into the full Greek construction of Colossians chapter 1, verse 15, Lord willing, okay? Let's get to the more correct answer. What is the identification of, theologically speaking, of the term firstborn? Is it that Jesus had the preempted rights of sonship? I mean, you know, let's see what the text continues to say. Let's go back to the New Testament. And let's go back to Colossians, you understand, in the same chapter, not another book, in the same book, in the same chapter, and just a few verses down the road. So let's go to chapter 1, and we're already at verse 15. We already read verse 15, you understand? Let's go to verse 18, okay, and see what it says. It says over here, he is, meaning Christ, he is also head of the body, meaning the kirk, the church, and it says over here, the church. Okay, and he is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, meaning the dead ones in Greek. It's probably nekron there, okay, with an omega and a nu. The dead ones, so that he, meaning Christ himself, probably an adjectival intensive in Greek over there, probably that he himself will come to have first place, okay, in everything. Okay, first place in everything. Okay? First place in everything. So what leads to the preempted rights is his bodily resurrection from the dead ones. Why do I say dead ones? Okay, because nekron means dead in the plural. I wish somebody could translate that. Okay, all right, dead ones, because that implies correctly so that he was brought forth from Sheol, from among the dead ones in Sheol. You shall not, quote, you shall not leave my soul in Sheol. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? That's what Jesus said. And he said that and recorded in Psalm 15 verse 10 in the Greek Septuagint, but Psalm 16 verse 10 according to the English and Hebrew texts. Okay, firstborn doesn't necessarily mean that is included in the pool, because it leads to that. But firstborn doesn't necessarily mean right off the bat. Okay, so I guess that's punctilio, right off the bat. You understand? In Greek, one simple action. You know what I mean? Right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? That's a punctiliar act. In Greek. But so one leads to another. So Walter Martin was right in a sense that it has to do with being first place. It has to do with it. I agree. But that's not the main thing, okay, all right? Because something led to that. Led to him being first place, you understand? And that was the resurrection. So firstborn meaning the one taken out of, okay, from Sheol. You understand what I'm saying? So he was the firstborn from among the dead. Let's read this again. This is quite clear, okay? It's very interesting. Okay, and let's read verse 15 and let's read verse 18. Because it's right here. Almost a back-to-back in the belly of the belly, like John Sterling from the New York Yankees likes to say. Well, he got hit by a baseball, by the way, the other day. Goodness gracious. He's over 80 years old and he should retire. I mean, goodness gracious. I love John, but still, it's time to retire and just enjoy the rest of your life. He is the image of the invisible God. Okay, the firstborn of all creation. Now, does that mean he was the first one created? No, it doesn't say that. It says he's the firstborn. But what does firstborn mean? It doesn't mean first created. No, it tells you, and that's what the witnesses don't do. They don't give you surrounding text or context. Never. They never give you the surrounding context of Ezekiel chapter 4. They just say, the soul that sins, it shall die. That's not the surrounding context. That's just one isolated verse. That's eisegeting a passage. You understand what I'm saying? If you ask a witness, why was that even written? Why was Ezekiel chapter 18 written in the first place? They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't know that verses 1 and 2 has to do with the answer what verse 4 is all about. There was a parable or saying going on in the Holy Land that the fathers can sin all they want to, and the children are going to reap the consequences. How does it go? The father, it goes, I'm doing it by memory. The father eats the sour grapes, but the children's teeth are set at edge, end quote. And God says, no, that's the exception, not the rule. Everybody is going to bear their own load. You read verses like 20 in the chapter. You understand what I'm saying? The sin is going to be upon his own rosh, in Hebrew, head. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? That's what it says. That everybody's going to be responsible for their own sin. Now, that's an exception. That there are sins that hit generations. And that's why I think the Boston Red Sox were cursed. You know what I'm saying? For a long time. For about like 85 years until they came back from a 3-0 lead against the New York Yankees and shamed my 2004 New York Yankees. You know what I'm saying? Led by the legendary Joe Torre. Okay? Who, before he was a New York Yankee manager, didn't have a clue. They called him Clueless Joe. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying? All right, so they're curses. I think the Kennedy clan was cursed. I think they were cursed. They were cursed because of the father. You understand what I'm saying? The sin of the father. But that's the exception, not the rule. Okay, so it's the Greek R, ro. You know what I mean? That's how the Greeks like their ro, their R. You know, and the Hebrews like it a little bit different than that, a lot different. All right. So that's just the deal. So that's the exception of the rule. But so they never give the surrounding context, and they only give you verse 15 of chapter 1 of Colossians. They don't give you verse 18. They don't. As a matter of fact, they add to verse 16 and 17. They use the Greek word, they use the word other, and there are 7 Greek words listed in Vine's complete expository dictionary of Old and New Testament words, and 5 in Mouse's complete expository dictionary of Old and New Testament words. So 7 in Vine's and 5 in Mouse's lexicon. And none of those Greek words appear in the text over there for the word other. Alelan, heteros, haze, I believe, right? Alelan, loipas, or something like that, or whatever the case may be. I haven't seen it in a while. It's on page 451 in the complete version of Vines, you know. Now, maybe they got another one that's even more complete, but I don't have that one. I don't even have the other one anyway. I left everything almost in New York. Now, I'll get back to this. Excuse me. So it says over here in verse, let's go back to verse 15, okay? And let's read verse 18 right after that. He is, meaning Christ, he is the image, or the icon. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn, okay, of all creatures, of all creations, it says over here, okay? But what is the meaning of firstborn? Does it mean creature? No, that Jesus is a creature. No, because that gives the answer here recorded in verse 18. Well, he is also head of the body, the church. Okay, and he is the beginning. Okay, now one translation says leader. I forgot if that was the today's English version or the CEV, but one of these translations says leader, just like the NIV says ruler for He, found and recorded in their version of Revelation chapter, their translation of Revelation chapter 13, verse 14. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Now, but we're not talking about that. So it says he is also the head of the body, the church, and he is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead. He's the firstborn from the dead, so that he, himself will come to have first place in everything. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? Is that clear? The answer is right here. So I think that we can use this as answer A, and then use Genesis chapter, chapter 41, verses 51 and 52, in conjunction with Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 9, to finish and seal the deal. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? If you don't use this, you're just gonna really touch the hem of the garment of the answer and say that he's in first place, but you don't know how he got there. He got there by being raised from the dead ones. You understand what I'm saying? And so the firstborn means the first one that was taken out from the dead. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Now, we could look at, well, then they're going to say, well, he wasn't the first one resurrected. Lazarus was the first one resurrected. But Jesus' resurrection had to do with his body, but the thing is that he didn't die again. That's the surrounding context, that he didn't die again. Lazarus died again. He didn't justify people, meaning Lazarus. Jesus did by his resurrection, and it's found and recorded in verse 25 of chapter 4 of Romans. You understand what I'm saying? So Jesus' resurrection was a literal bodily resurrection. His tangible, literal body that he had as a birthday suit and had as a young man and a baby and a young man and a man, and was crucified with, was the same body that rose from the dead. You understand what I'm saying? That's all there is to it. And read exciting books like The Battle for the Resurrection by Norman Geisler, and and he had an interview done by CRI when CRI was really CRI, okay, way back in the 90s. And I have that, and I'm gonna put that yet again, okay, on YouTube if God gives me life and God gives me a chance. You understand? Okay. Somebody beat me to the Walter Martin tape, putting that up there, but with Manti and Walter Martin, but they have it divided for some reason, and then it's not polished. I have it polished. I have rehanced. The volume is raised and it's cleaned up and digitally, sort of digitally enhanced. Okay. So I'm going to get the Walter Martin and Manti interview up there. But it's going to be a better version because I'm going to have graphics and cover graphics and Greek and stuff like that. And all the whole 9 yards. You understand what I'm saying? So somebody beat me to it. It shocks, but, what are you going to do? All right. Now let's get into the Greek. Okay, let's get into the Greek. Okay. Now let's go to the most ancient authorities. Okay, I usually use the Byzantine text because it's easier to read for me because of my eyes, but I don't really need to do that all the time. Let's go to Colossians. All right, that's 1 Timothy. You see, Galatians is there, Ephesians is in the corner, Philippians is right there, and this is Colossians right here, recorded. And let's go to chapter 1. You understand? And verse 15 is right here. Okay. I believe verse 15 is right here. You understand? So let's read it. Now, verse 15 says over here, Has, and I was right. It was Has for he. Okay, Has Estin, so he is. Okay, it has it there. Has Estin, okay, and it has over here a con for the image. Okay, of God, okay, tu theou, that's in the genitive case. Thea is a second declension word, okay, ending in omicron, nowadays called omicron, and the word God is found and recorded at least 1,317 times according to Mounds in the Greek New Testament. Now, what manuscript they're using for that? Could it be Sinaiticus or Alexandrinus? It's not going to be. It's definitely it's not going to be. Okay, something like well, the pastoral epistles is not found and recorded in manuscript B, also known as manuscript 3. Okay, Vaticanus. Okay, or Vaticanus, however you want to pronounce it, manuscript. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to this tuteu. Okay, tuteu tu. Okay, ra tu, and that's in the genitive case. I will say classifying this as I can, just looking at it and not really, studying too much right here. But I would say this is the genitive of description. Okay, the invisible God is a genitive of description. Okay, okay, it's not the genitive of relationship. It's not the genitive of time. It's not the genitive of place. I mean, it's the invisible God. So I will just classify this for now anyway. Just at first glance, as the genitive of description. Okay, tu theu tu arata. Now the alpha there. This is making this an alpha primitive and negating the word, if you will. making it negative, invisible. Same Greek word is found in the Greek Septuagint for the earth being invisible under the element of water. Okay, in verse 2 of of chapter 1. Okay, the earth was invisible. It's the same Greek word found and recorded there. Greek word invisible over here. The Greek word for invisible is found and recorded also for God being invisible again. Okay, in Romans chapter 1. Okay, now so arata and prototokas is here. Okay, that means a firstborn. Okay, protatakas. Okay, just to be a little bit more, more accurate. Protatakas. Firstborn. Okay, passes of all, and over here creatures is okay, katiseos. Okay, passes is of all, all. You see pas there. Okay, so katiseos is creation. Now let's get and so let's spell these. Okay, has is a I didn't say it. Has is a relative pronoun from the has paradigm. Okay, has, who, ho, and han. That side of the masculine paradigm. Okay, and it's the same word found and recorded all over the place, but in particular in verse 16 of chapter 3 of 1 Timothy. And what's the big deal? Has refers back to Theou anyway, so God will still manifest in the flesh, even though correctly so is actually he or who was manifested in the flesh. Okay? It refers back to Theou, and Theou is found and recorded 2 times in verse 15. So I still use 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 16 as a proof of Jesus' deity. I just trace the antecedent all the way to verse 15. The antecedent of Has is Theou. Okay? No doubt about that. All right, now, so Has is spelled out Omicron with a rough breathing marker and an acute marker, so Has. Okay, and final sigma. Estin is from the Amy paradigm. I believe it's like Amy A and Estin, and Esmen, Este, and I forgot the other construction there in the paradigm there, but Estin is third person. It means is. Okay, it's from Amy, and Amy is a me verb actually. Okay, has Estin icon or acon or econ. I mean, I pronounce this a. Some people pronounce it I, the diphthong there in front of the kappa for for image. So I mean, with a soft breathing marker A or I, or it doesn't change anything. I mean, you're not changing this. You're not changing the function if you're saying a cone or I cone or whatever the case may be. The modern Greeks will pronounce this as E. They don't like the I sound, okay? And they don't like the A sound. So they're not going to pronounce it like that, okay? All right, now, so acone or icon. If you want to say icon because it sounds like icon, say icon. I mean, what's the big deal? Okay, that's one of the 24 articles in the article paradigm in biblical Greek. That's from the two side of the paradigm, genitive singular. Ton is the genitive plural side of the paradigm. And you have Theou there, one of the 9 constructions that I could think of for God. You have Theas, Theou, which is this is Theo, Thean, Thee, and that's for free. That's an evocative, just like how Theos can be vocative. And then in the plural side of the Theos paradigm, you have Theoi, Theon, which is not in the Greek New Testament, Theon. And then you have Theois and Theus. Okay, those are all plural. And then you have a Thea paradigm, which is alpha, which includes alpha, and that's goddess. And Theon with an alpha, which is the accusative singular for that. Okay, so I mean, you don't only have Theos in the masculine, you have Theos in the feminine. And that's found and recorded. Those, at least two constructions of that paradigm found and recorded in Praxis of Apostologic Acts of the Apostles, chapter what? Chapter what is it? Chapter 19, verses 27 and 37, I believe. Okay. All right. Now, so tu aratas, okay, or aratu, in the genitive invisible. Okay, protatakan and protatakas, and that's firstborn. Of all, okay, passes. I believe that's in the genitive passes there, and then kati seos, creation. Now let's get to verse 18. Okay, let's get to verse 18 here, found and recorded. Okay, let's see what was verse 18. Sorry if I'm a little slow. I am legally blind. I'm using a magnifying glass of all things. Here it is right here. It says over here, Kai, and, okay, it says over here, Altas. He, okay, so it doesn't use has. It uses a third-person personal pronoun. Okay, Altas from the Altas paradigm. Altas, Altu, Alto, Altan, Altoi, Alton, Altois, Altus, okay? That's just a third-person personal pronoun which has gender. Okay, the first two kinds of pronouns, meaning first person and second person, don't have gender. Okay, and the ego and the su paradigms. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? But anyway, it says over here. I lost my place. Okay, so Altas, he is an Estin again. Okay, and he is the head. Okay, so head is a feminine word. Hey, it'll be pronounced e in modern Greek. Okay, kephale. It's the same Greek word where it says that Jesus bowed down his head in verse 30 of chapter 19 of John's Gospel. And before he did that, he said to Telestai, the debt, and I'm adding debt there theologically, the debt has been paid in full, or the debt has been finished, it has been accomplished, echoing what a prophecy said so long ago, 700 years ago, before the crucifixion in Psalm 22, okay, in the last verse. It says that he has done this, so it was as good as done in the Old Testament. You understand what I'm saying? He was the lamb slain before the foundation of the world. Cosmo. And I lost my place again. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Autos esten he kephale. Okay, and that's in the nominative case, and he is the head, okay, of the body, and somatas, is from the Greek word soma, actually somat, because you can check out what's the stem by just checking out the genitive here. And if you take out the omicron and the sigma, you have the stem. Just like what you could do with pantos, okay? It's the same thing. It's a good clue. Third declension word, you can check out the stem of the word by checking out the genitive construction. Take out the omicron and the sigma, you have the stem. Just like in pantos, you have pont. You're not going to see that in the lexicon. You have pas. They dropped off the nu and the tau by adding the sigma. That's why it's different in the lexicon. You understand? I lost my place again. Okay. Altas estin he kephale two somatas of the body, and that's in the genitive of the body. Okay. Tes. Okay. Ecclesias. And tes is a genitive singular article. So you know that the upcoming one is in the genitive. Ecclesias, okay, is in the genitive case. Okay, so that means church, ecclesias. He, and that's house over there, okay, Estin is, okay, the beginning or the ruler, okay. Now remember, and forget about the lexicons that we're used to, okay, affairs, kiddos, Art and Gimridge, that's an old one. Vines, Mounts, George Riker Berries, United Bible Society's Greek lexicon, all these lexicons and more. Forget about that for now. They have it. They have the semantic range of arche. But outside of that, arche has a semantic domain. It's in the semantic. There's meanings in the semantic pool. I call this the semantic pool. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, if you buy something like Oxford Greek dictionary, okay, and that's modern Greek also. Okay, all right. You're gonna see arche under like two headings, and the second one, arche, has the meaning of ruler. Ruler. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when it's archon, okay, that has to do with for example, a ruler of a synagogue. That's why it's different. That's why it's archon. That's only the only reason between arche and archon that Nicodemus and archon, the ruler of the Jews. Well, you're not going to use the word arche because he's the ruler of the Jews specifically. You understand what I'm saying? But listen, leader and ruler has to do with arche and beginning as well. But Jehovah, okay, or Yahweh, Alpha and Omega, is called the beginning and the end. So what? You're gonna call him a creature because he's called the arche? You understand what I'm saying? You see? Yeah, the witnesses have to call a time out. You understand what I'm saying? They have to call a time out. They have to stop playing the games that they're playing with Trinitarians and with God. And they just have to stop and shoot a foul shot or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Now, where's my place? This usually doesn't happen to me. That's why I don't like using this app too much, because it's, Autas estin, okay, hey, kefale. Atu somatas. Taste. That's the King James only curse. I'm losing my voice, for God's sakes. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Taste. Ecclesias. He is has estin. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, you can say the beginning. So what? Arche, I don't care. The beginning, or the leaders, like another translation says. It's not a translation, but anyway, it says over here protatakas, the firstborn, okay, and of, you could get of from ek, not only out all the time, of the necron, of the dead ones, it says over here. You see that omega nu? Come on, man. And you see that this is a genitive plural article. This word necron, okay, means dead ones. Of the dead ones. It's in the plural. It's not in the singular. You understand what I'm saying? It's not tu necru or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? It's ton necron. Dead ones. Again, teaching, okay, that he was, listen, he was like, his spirit was lifted like, it was lifted out of shield with an invisible crane, if you will. He was born out of the dead ones, meaning he was taken out. You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna look at the meaning of born. Firstborn. You understand what I'm saying? All right, to necron, of the dead ones. Okay. Hina, in order that, okay, genetai, and I believe that's in the subjunctive. Okay, we can check that out. But genetai, that might be a subjunctive over there. I think the eta is proving that the passive construction there. Okay, in all things. Okay, and then you have pas again, pasin. And that's in the plural. Pasin, new optional. I call it new optional. But you see the C. Now the singular will be panti, and then the plural is pasi. Okay, it's pasi. It's not pant. Okay. All right. So n is the dative case because n only takes the dative. Autas he. Okay, it says over here, pro to on, okay, and let me see over here, and that's it. And pro to on is first place. Okay, in all things. So in all things, you translate that after you translate. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Pro tu on our first place. And oh yeah, you can say in all things he might be in he be in first place. Okay, like that. Either or. Like that. You know what I'm saying? All right. So let's check out this app over here. Okay, in the stand. And let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's just do now. Let's look at Colossians, and I really hate the tabs in this app. Okay, it's really, really, really quite annoying. But I'm gonna try to do the best I can because it's very, very tiny, and you can easily make a mistake, and then you have to do everything again. So it's very annoying. Okay, so I have like what 20% left. Yeah, that's okay. All right, so verse 15 is here. Let's see. It's so small for me to see. It's so small for me to punch. I think that's the wrong one. Okay, let me see. He is the. Okay, no, I got it. All right, okay, good. Eureka, Eureka. It means in Greek, like they got Eureka from the Greek of like found or something like that. It means in Greek, right? It's something like that. Now it says over here, he for has, okay, is ested, okay, the is not there, the image. Say he is the image. He is the image, the actual image. You understand what I'm saying? Of the, and that's two, God, and the Theou, okay, two, and Aratas, okay, Ratu, actually invisible. The firstborn, okay, so let's check that out right off the bat. The firstborn. All right, so firstborn is tagged with 44, okay, 16, okay. Again, this is pro tatakas, okay, pro tatakas, tagged by 44, 16 again, okay. Let's check this out. Baleen, right? Okay, let's check this out. Now, definition. Okay, firstborn. Now, this is going to be flimsy. Okay, eldest. So, I mean, this is flimsy at best. Okay, but he was the firstborn. Okay, this is very. I hate this app. I really do. Just the additions I'm talking about. Not. He was okay. When you're born, okay, you are taken out of the womb. You're born. It doesn't necessarily mean elder or whatever the case may be. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you are the firstborn, the secondborn, or whatever the case may be. Secondborn, firstborn. I mean, you're the firstborn. Okay, fine. Firstborn. You're the first one born. But from ton necron is the clue to interpret firstborn. From among the dead ones. He is the first. He is the pro tatakas. Okay. Ek ton necron. He was the first one, you understand, taken out. He was the firstborn taken out. Now, you can say if he was the eldest of them taken out from Sheol, that could explain a lot of things too. That he was the eldest. I mean, he is the leader, if you will. You understand what I'm saying? Of those taken out. So even though Lazarus was taken out first, okay, it doesn't make a difference because Christ is still, okay, all right, the elder in the sense. You have to put it like you have to put all the pieces together. The conclusion is, okay, that he was in Sheol and he was taken out. Okay, he was taken out. He was the first one born. Okay, now could it be because of the cross? Now remember that Lazarus died before the crucifixion, so that comes under the umbrella of the Old Testament saints. He comes under the umbrella of the Old Testament saints. Jesus didn't die yet, in actuality, in space and time. Okay, so even though Lazarus was resurrected before Jesus, it still was during the Old Testament time, if you will. Okay, because Jesus didn't go to the cross and die, and actually he was not risen from the dead yet. So Lazarus is disqualified as being the first one born from the dead ones, even though he came out of Sheol. He went to Sheol, and he came out relatively quickly. He was only there for a few days, or hours, or whatever it was. You understand what I'm saying? But since Jesus himself, adjectival intensive, died, right then and there, the first crop of believers after the cross, the first crop, he was the leader of. Okay? Now, let's go to confirm this, let's go to Matthew chapter 27 and see that he is the head of the New Testament crop of believers who was raised from the dead, after his resurrection. After his resurrection, though. All right, let's go to the book of Matthew, you understand? And let's go to, I have Colossians here, so let's go to Matthew, chapter 27 and around verse 51, so, chapter 27, Matthew chapter 20, yes, Godfrey? Okay, I have to open to my stepson. Wait for a second, Godfrey, because I'm studying the Bible. Wait for a second. Okay. Wait for a second, Godfrey. Okay. Okay, Godfrey. What do you need, Godfrey? Huh? You? Yeah, you can stay with me if you want, but you're gonna have to sleep over there because I brought the other thing to the other house. Okay, there's no other place. Okay, so you're gonna need a pillow and stuff like that. Okay, but I'm studying the Bible now, so just okay. You have to bring a pillow from over there. Okay. All right. So, you have to ask your mother. Ask your mother also. Okay, you have to ask your mother first. Okay? Ask your mother first. Okay? All right. No, it's locked. Oh, open that. So that way I don't have to get up again. My God, my back is killing me, guys. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? All right. Now, yeah, this house has to be further constructed. And we don't have a lot of furniture in the place, you know what I mean? Just to get so graphic, But let's go to verse 51, okay? I think it's verse 53, but let me go to verse 53. All right, let's check it out. I'm relearning this as you are as well. It says, and coming out of the tombs, coming out of the tombs, not memorial tombs, by the way. Listen, tombs could be a memorial, but it doesn't mean memorial tombs. You understand what I'm saying? All right. And coming out of the tombs after his anastasis, after his resurrection, they, entered the holy city, probably Jerusalem, and appeared, to many. You see? After the resurrection. So, he's the firstborn. during the New Testament dispensation, the New Testament time, the New Testament period, the New Testament era. Is that clear? That's what you tell the witnesses. Listen, don't give me this hocus pocus. You understand what I'm saying? Over Lazarus' resurrection that you're doing. It's like the witnesses have a magic wand and they try to use Lazarus, to prove their point. Lazarus was resurrected before the cross. Hey, did you get a pillow, Godfrey?
Yeah.
Okay, so just lay down over there. That side, okay? That's like that. Okay, for now, okay? All right. No TV now, Godfrey, because I'm studying the Bible. You understand what I'm saying? Don't bother me though. I love you a lot, but still. That's my stuff's on Godfrey. He was named Godfrey because he was born on Good Friday. All right. Just make some milk for you or something like that, Godfrey. Okay, if you want. Don't use this hocus pocus and stuff like that and say, "Well, Lazarus was born. He was resurrected first." No, he wasn't. He was resurrected before Jesus. But during the New Testament, listen, but that was before Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. Okay, I'm going to be finished soon, Godfrey, okay? That was before Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection, not after. Just tell them what this is not. Tell them. That's what I'm saying. It's just like Star Trek. Remember the show Mary? Remember that? Tell him, Jim. Tell him, Jim. Tell him, Jim. Like that, okay? Those were the snotty-nosed kids, Is this a thing? Is this a good thing, Mary? I mean, come on with the stuff, garbage, God. Come on. All right, I was talking about Star Trek, So, listen, Lazarus wasn't born. That's why you have to pray, okay, before a Bible study. Okay, in Jesus' name. Listen, he wasn't born from the dead ones after Jesus' resurrection. Before Jesus' he wasn't the first one born from the dead, okay, after Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection, okay, from the dead ones, okay? Jesus was. So that's why he, okay, is the head of the new crop of believers that was resurrected from the dead, but he's the first one born of that group, okay? That's a Greek word P, a Greek letter P, and then the Hebrew letter P. Sometimes, sometimes it's a PH sound like the P in Greek. You know what I'm saying? All right. Do you get that? What did we learn? Well, we learned that he is actually the image of the invisible God. He is the image. They all have one face. Let's get to that before we kind of sum up our Bible study. All right. Let's go to Revelation chapter, okay? Revelation chapter 6, I believe, in verse 16. So let's get that. 6 and 16, you understand? Okay, which is the second and last verse in the chapter. It says over here, and they said, okay, to the mountains and to, okay, the rocks, okay, fall on us and hide us from the presence or face. It's actually face. It's prosopon in Greek, or panim probably in Hebrew. Presence or face of him who, okay, sits on the throne, and from the, okay, you understand what I'm saying? Wrath of the Lamb. Let's check out the Greek. Okay? Let's go to Revelation. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. Let's go over here. You understand what I'm saying? To the last book of the Bible. Let's go to chapter 6, and it's right here. You okay, Godfrey? Okay. So, and this is verse 16 right here. And let's check out the Greek. It says over here, and Greek word kai, they say, and that's legusin. Okay, they say that's in the present tense though. Okay, so usin is that's a primary active personal ending. Primary active, I believe, personal ending. Okay, to the, okay, To the, and that's twice. That's in the plural. That article, data plural. Mountains. Okay, skip some of this. To the, okay, to the rocks, and that's actually Petrais, and that's feminine. Fall. Okay, pesete, and that's an imperative. That's a command. For the commanding the rocks, but they don't obey nobody but their Lord. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? On, and that's it's really epi, but they aspirated it and make that F. Us, okay, Hemas. That's from the Hemes paradigm. Hemes, Hemon, Hemin, and Hemas, and okay, hide us. Okay, Krupsate, Krupsate. Okay, and that's an imperative. That's an Buddha. The te is showing out is the imperative morphine there. Okay, tote, tote and tosan. I think it's tosan. Is that the imperative right there? Tote tosan, right? Stay, like that. And he got other morphemes also, epsilon, like that. From, okay, the face. Look at the translation here in the Greek interlinear. Okay, from is apa. Okay, prasopo, prasopo, face. You have to say it like an Italian, Greek. It's like that. Prasopo, face means face, but one face, not the faces of the Lamb and the one sitting on the throne, or whatever the case may be. It's one. They have one face, one image, in our image and in our likeness. Let us make man. Hebrew word naaseh, imperative. Actually, a subjunctive, not an imperative. In the Greek Septuagint, esomen. Esomen is a subjunctive there. The omega is pointing out the subjunctive, and the men is pointing out the plurality of everything. You understand what I'm saying? Poiesomen, and the sigma is pointing out the aorist transformative. That is an aorist tense, I should say. You understand? But it's a subjunctive. It's like an exhortation from one of the Trinitarian members or Trinity members is exhorting the other two to create. You understand what I'm saying? But look, one face, it says over here. No faces, one face. You understand? So, what do we learn? Well, let's get into the English, okay? Right. Now, we learned from from Colossians, as I wish it was the first and second Colossians, but anyway, from Colossians chapter 1, verses 16 and 17, okay, that there are two answers that are really part A and part B of an answer that you can give to the witnesses, of a package that contain. There's a package of an answer that contains two parts that you could give to an unbeliever that doesn't believe, okay, in the deity of Christ or in the resurrection of Jesus. First of all, it says, okay, and let me get to it, okay? Let me get to it. While I'm speaking, you can see it. So, let's go back to, let's go back to Colossians, okay? Okay, Colossians is right here, okay? Let's see, where's Colossians? Okay, Colossians is right here. Chapter 1 is right there. Verse 15 is right over here. Okay, and we saw that this comes in two chunks. He is the image of the invisible God. That's number one. Number two, he's the firstborn, okay, among the dead ones. Of the dead ones, okay, of the dead ones. He's the firstborn. That means that he is the image of the invisible God. He is God. He is the God man. He is God. Jesus is the God man, the anthropos, not the anthropic. That's a mixture of the two. I'm not talking about the anthropic. Are you going to be making a mistake that maybe Eutyches and Nestorius did, or something like that? I forgot what was his the heretic's name. Nestorius. He lived in I think the council was at the council was the Council of Chalcedon. 451 AD. I think that was like that, 451. And I mentioned 451 already in Vine's Complete Expository Dictionary, Holy New Testament, where the Greek word for others is found on page 451. So I hope I got that right of the Council of Chalcedon, the date. You can check that out, see if I'm right or wrong. He is the image of the invisible God. It's not that he's a copy of it. He isn't the image of it. He is. And he wasn't made the image. He is the image. We're made under the image of God and his likeness. You understand what I'm saying? Let us make. Now, I said in Hebrew. Okay? Let us make. Okay? Poesomen in the Greek Septuagint. Let us make man. Okay? Incidentally, all the Hebrew words that talk about the Trinity. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? In Genesis chapter 1. Verse 26 and 322 and 11:7 is Na'aseh mimenu and nereda. And Lanu is actually found and recorded in Isaiah chapter 6 verse 8. You understand what I'm saying? Not to mention Hamon, which is of us, found and recorded, I believe, in Genesis chapter 3 verse 22 in the Greek Septuagint. The men is showcasing the plurality that first person plural primary personal ending men tagged, okay, on the word poieso. Okay, poieso. Okay, it's really poieo, but the construction changed because it's a subjunctive. But the men is still used, the primary active personal ending. Okay, men in the plural, in the first person plural. You understand what I'm saying? All right, fine and dandy. Now, so what did we learn? Comes in two chunks. What did we see? It says he's the image, number one. Number two, he's the firstborn. What is the meaning of firstborn? Well, we went to Genesis chapter, and we got part of the answer from Genesis chapter 41, verses 51 and 52. And Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 9. That even though Manasseh was the first one born to Joseph, you understand what I'm saying? He didn't have the preemptive rights according to God, because according to God's eyes, even though Manasseh was the first one born, okay, the one that had the preemptive rights was Ephraim. He was the firstborn according to God. So yes, Walter Martin was correct in saying that it has to do with the preemptive rights of sonship. But how did Jesus get there? Well, he got there by being the firstborn. And we said that they could use Lazarus all they want to, the witnesses, okay? But Lazarus was resurrected before the cross of Jesus, the crucifixion of Jesus, and before the resurrection of Jesus, not after. Now, it said, and we looked at verse 53 of chapter 27 of Matthew, and we saw that those believers, okay, those saints, were resurrected after. Okay, probably a meta is there. Let's check it out in the Greek. After Jesus' resurrection. Let's check it out, though. Let's check it out. Okay, that's the last thing I want to check out. So let's go to Matthew's Gospel. Okay, all right, and it's right here. Chapter 27. That's kind of easy. Chapter 27. And I kind of switched yes, no, because the resurrection chapter is actually chapter 28. But it mentions his resurrection before that in chapter 27. Now let's go to verse 53. Okay, and verse 53 is right there. So let's look at the Greek and see if it's meta. Actually, let's look at it in English. It says over here, and coming out, okay, of the tombs after, but that's not the Greek, his resurrection. Okay, they, meaning the saints, entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now let's get the Greek though. Okay, Godfrey, okay? Okay, sweetie, I'm almost finished. Okay. Okay, so let's check this out. Matthew is right. Matthew's right here, I believe. Right? Let's check it out. So, Matthew is right here, and chapter 27 is right here. And verse 53, okay, all right, you understand what I'm saying? It's right around, man, this is very hard to see. It's right here. You know what I mean? It's very hard to see and poke at the same time. That's what I'm saying. All right. So it says over here, and Greek word kai, having gone, and that's exceltantes, and that's very easy. That's in the plural. Case ending is in the plural. Okay. Nominative plural, by the way. And then the nu and the tau is a participial morpheme from the present active side of the chart, nu and tau, okay? So that's a present active participle, okay? Out of is ek, the is thon, and so tombs is in the plural, genitive plural. Tombs is menemeon. Menemeon is tombs, or more than one tomb. After it is meta. Okay, so after is meta over there. Okay. After the, okay, tain. So you know is in the feminine the word coming up, anastasis. Okay, well it's not actually anastasis. Actually, okay. Resurrection is actually ege. What is this? Egersin. Egersin. Okay. Gersin. Okay? It's not anastasis over here, so that's the Greek word for resurrection over here. Of him, of Christ. Okay, I'll do it in genitive singular construction. They, okay, entered, okay, so that's okay, that's eseltan. Okay, let me see, I got 2% left, I have to go. Into, and that's Greek word so I'm almost finished, got free. Okay, and that's tain, you understand? Okay, holy is, Agion, city is, Godfrey. Pauline, he's getting close to me and he's going to throw me off. Get away. Pauline, and Greek word kai, he's 10 years old. Appeared, okay, and niste san, okay, and niste san, and appeared, okay, to many. Balois, and that's in the dative plural, and appeared to many. Is that what I'm saying? So the resurrection of Jesus, okay, all right, happened after his crucifixion and after his resurrection. Okay, and they were resurrected after. Okay, after. Is that what I'm saying? After his resurrection. So that's why he's the first one born, because he was the first one resurrected during the New Testament dispensation. Okay? The death and resurrection of Lazarus happened sort of, during the Old Testament in a sense. It was before the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. As I lose my breath over here, you understand what I'm saying? So that's the explanation of that. This is Angelo Quinones giving glory, total glory to the God of Yisrael. God is not the God of the dead, okay, of the mood in Hebrew, but of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those words, okay? So I guess that, I don't guess I knew that that's really the meaning behind, okay, firstborn in verse 15 of chapter 1 of Colossians. He wasn't the first one created. It doesn't say that he's the first one born. And verse 18 has the answer. He was the firstborn of the dead ones, of the dead. He was the first one because it was after his crucifixion and resurrection and not before. Okay, is that clear? Okay, good. It's Angelo Quinones. Take care, guys. Bye-bye now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Godfrey. Okay, now let me just push this button. Wait for a second, Godfrey, please. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye-bye now.